Hello, in this tutorial I will show you how to model this character in 3ds Max. And by the way, this is not my artwork. I found this on Pinterest. You can find it at this link right here. So let's switch to Krita to do some analysis of this character. So we have this character in Krita, and right now the main focus first we will be modeling the body using a cube. So we will be shaping the cube so that it looks like this body, and the next step would be is to make the eyes. So the eyes would be shaped as a circle, but we have to make sure and keep in mind that this is in a loop so that it is animation friendly. If we were to rig it and animate it, so you would have an edge loop right around this area, and you would have an edge loop inside or around the eye socket. Also, there would be an edge loop around the mouth. So when you create an edge, so there would be an edge flow all around. And as if you have noticed, I will be building only one half, and the other half will be built using asymmetry. As for the hair, since not much action is there, it can be built any way you want. So you don't have to make sure it has edge loops and all of that. So you can see how it will be built using a series of polygons. So let's proceed to 3ds Max so we can build this. So since we have the main idea how it will be built, the rest is simple. And by the way, the arm and the hands will be built using a cylinder, but you would have an edge loop around this area. And same thing with the leg. So this would be a cylinder as well, and you also would have an edge loop around here, since this would be animated. So the rigging would be around here, around the joint area. So let's switch to 3ds Max so we can build this. So first is we will add a reference to the scene. So we will create a plane, and rotate it 90 degrees and make sure your angle snap is on, so you can use this button to activate it. So let's move that to the back, and let us activate the material by pressing M, or you could use this icon as well. And we can take this material and just drag and drop it on the object, and right here under base color we select this value and add a bitmap. So navigate the file location and you should be able to see it on the object. So we're not seeing the material, so and I think the reason for that is, I don't know what the reason for that is. What the hell? So let's try to the different material and see. So there is another way of adding a material to the object, and you can do that by drag and drop. So right here you can do that and add it to the material, to the plane. So we have 3ds Max open now, and the first thing that we want to do is to add a plane, and the reason for that is because I want a reference image so I can reference it during the modeling process. So once we create a plane, make sure it is above the grid and in the back, so that way you can model it using this view. And if you press F on the keyboard, it will toggle the front view, so that would be like an orthographic view where you can do a lot of the modeling faster and quicker. For now I want to reduce the length segment to 1, and so what I did here is you just right click on the down or up arrow and it will reset the value. So let's hide the grid. You can press G to hide the grid, and if you press the right click on the top value, so it will be reduced to 1. So it will take it will take it down to the lowest value. So now that we have a plane, let's activate the materials by pressing M or clicking right here. So right here we can see this empty box. So you can add a bitmap to it, or you can drag and drop a reference image to it. So you can do that, and take this material and just drop it on the material on the plane. In case you're not seeing anything, you need to make sure that show shaded material in viewport active, and now you can see the reference image. So let's close that. So let's right click on the image, and we want to freeze this image or reference image, so we don't have to select it by mistake. So right here under freeze, we check that on, make sure it's on, and right here in frozen we make sure that is off, because if we leave it as default the reference image would be gone. So let me show you that really quickly. So if we do that, you can see it's gone. So let's undo, right click, object properties, freeze, and show frozen in gray is gone. And right now your reference image is unselectable. In case you want to unfreeze it, make sure you are in the layer explorer and just uncheck the snowflake, which is the frozen icon, and you can tell by the text in italicized. So let's begin. So we have the plane on, so you can see the plane, and the first thing I want to do is create a box. So my understanding is this character has the same sizes all around, and if we press Alt X we can see the X-ray view. And let's move the box up just a little bit, and under edit I want to convert that to an editable poly. So I will select the vertices, select the top vertices, and just move it up and make it. So you have to be careful when you're doing your scaling, because I don't want to do it this way. I might want to do it this way. So I'm assuming it's equal from all sizes. So for now, to the best of my ability, is just do my best. And this one is also, so you could also add another view, so you can click another view just in case you want to see it from a different angle, so you make sure that you're not making any mistakes. Just to get out of the default wireframe, make sure the default shading is on, so you can see the reference image and the shaded object. So for now, this one I want it to be front view, and default shading I want to remove the grid so I can see better. So for the bottom vertices I want it to be equal scaling, so just like that, and I want to add an edge loop right around this area. So let's activate wireframe. You press F4 just to do that, and let's go into scaling, and let's scale that out. Let's do another wireframe, and here I would like to activate wireframe just to see it. I just want to shift the base mesh a bit to the right. So this is not going to be an exact model, so okay. So this is looking good so far. And maybe we need another edge. So two edges, one here and one on there. And let's add, so using the connect tool, because I want to add three edges. So let's go to connect, make sure that you are pressing on the settings icon beside connect, and let's increase that to 3, and maybe just space it out just a little bit, and then yes. So for now I will take 1/2, delete, and add a symmetry modifier. And if I want to do my editing while I see the other side, I make sure that the show end result is on. So I have, as I have said before, I want to make sure this is an edge loop, and so we want this edge loop right here, and also I want an edge loop around the object. So this is, since this is going to be a symmetry, it will be implied on the other side as well. So this would be an edge loop. So let's clear that and let's go on. So before I can proceed, it would be a good idea. Oh, so one mistake I've just made, which is not adjusting that so that it looks like the base mesh of the model. So I've added edges when I should have not. So let's do control, select this edge loop, control and backspace, so we can delete the vertices along as well. So let's add an edge loop right here. Since we cannot tell which the middle, and if we press and hold the control key, it will adjust the curvature of the edge of the curvature of the model, so we do not want that. So right here, let's just turn off for a second. So I'm not seeing any edges being formed, but so yeah, so if you press shift and hold, you can see it adds a nice curvature to it, but that's not what I want. So let's select those edges and do an edge connect. So we select the connect option. So you see what have happened here. It applied the last implied changes to this one. We do not want that, so I only want one. And let's adjust the curvature of those edges. So what we want to do is just move those in to go along with the curvature of the face. So we're using the shadows, the light and the shadows, to see that curvature. So we want to see this right here. So doing it in orthographic view might not be the best idea, because we do not see things in as orthographic. It's good for engineering drawing, but not art. So like this rendering would have been done in orthographic in perspective view. So what we do in this case, we press P just to see it as perspective, and like from the looks of it, you can't see much change to it, so we might need to force that change in. and that is fine. And right now we want to scale those in. You can see that it's the gizmo is not being centered, so what we want to do is, if we press this option right here under selection center, this will center the selection. So be aware. So when you're using the shortcut, it will cycle through. So right now, if we keep pressing R, it is cycling through the different scaling process. So we do not want the squish one. It's good maybe to do other stuff, but at this moment we want the uniform one, or maybe this one too. So just give it a little bit of curvature base. So you're making the judgment here, and I think in this case it looks good. So if you switch to orthographic view, it might look a lot more extreme, the curvature. So for now this is good. So the other thing that we want to do right now is add an eyeball. So to do that is we just go back to the create modifier and we create a sphere. So for now let's cancel out of that and do hide selection, because right now we're focusing on the eyeball. So we hide selection and let's create a sphere, and let's make sure that that sphere is a little bit low poly. So I'm going to go with an even number. And let's rotate this image 90 degrees so it's facing the front, and let's move that up here. I will activate the X view just to see how it looks like. And let's make that a bit too flat. And the only reason I'm making it flat because that's my understanding based on the image. So let's convert that to an editable poly and maybe delete half of it. Maybe remove some of those edges. So let's go back into front view and just make sure everything looks good. Okay, so I think it looks good for now. So let's make sure that I save the image. Two. And let's do unhide all. So for now, let's move this to the front. so maybe those edges needs to be moved out just a little bit, and maybe move down. Okay, maybe I just move the eyeball just in a little bit. That's okay. So we're making the best judgment out of here. So right now let's select, so let's freeze this one. So right click, object properties, freeze, and it is okay to be shown in as frozen. And let's go to this image, and for now we want to hide the back, the, faces, because they're only causing trouble, especially if you're trying to reference to the image. So to do that is, all you have to do is just click hide selected, and the faces has been hidden. And now we can select those faces and we do an inset. So right here we just create an inset, and we can use the rapid tool, shading, or sorry, geometry, and the first one, fast edge loop regularizer. Let's make that smaller. Let's remove it, delete it, and let's start shaping it so it fits the eyeball. So we can exit from the X-ray view because right now it's not serving much purpose. So another thing that we want to keep in mind, maybe we want to add another edge loop around here so we can make the bridge, because having the edges coming from corner will not play well, especially once we start smoothing it. So for now let's add just two more edge loop, one right here, and so how do we add an edge loop right across here? So what we do is, let's go to the front view, and we want to use a very useful tool, which is slice plane. Right now we can see the plane. Make sure the angle snap is on, and let's rotate that 90 degrees, and let's move that all the way over here, and you can see it is making a plane slice. And let's do slice, and let's turn off slice plane. And now we do have the bridge that we can, the bridge right here, so we can build that, the nose bridge. And for those ones we can just do target weld. So, and these ones we can just move to the middle, and we might want to think about making it a bit curvy. So just move it out a little bit, just so that it goes with the curvature of the face. Again with the cycling tool, so if you keep press Q, you'll cycle through different type of selection. So for now I want maybe this one, and just move it up, and this one as well, and just move it up. So maybe this one comes around the side and out. So, and we want to see like a curvature, so make sure that the curvature is being visible. So always keep looking around to make sure everything is good. Because this is a low poly, it might not play nicely with the curvatures, but that's fine. And now what we want to do is, so we select the border and we want to extrude that in, maybe make it smaller and then cap it. So it is okay to use shift at this time because we want nice curvature. And let's add another turbo smooth just to see how it looks like, just to make sure that there is no issues. So like right now we can see some flatness around here, which is not desirable, and right here is a bit too curvy, even though like in the image it seems a lot more flat, and it seems that there's a lot more real estate around the face, so this would be like a lot more flatter. So let's hide that, and maybe because the eyeball is way inside, maybe we need to bring that up just a little bit, or maybe we need to bring the middle side in just a little bit. So like we can select those and just move that in. So let's do that. So let's move this a bit forward to make the nose gap a bit more flat. And let's move the eyeball a bit to the front. So let's open the layer explorer and let's unfreeze that. would be this one. So it would be nice to just rename them, so you can do it here. Just say eyeball. And here, let's make this is a bit, the gap is a bit too flat. And if you have noticed with the turbo smooth, so let's apply that, and let's do like show full results, and let's exit from the vertex view, and let's do so we can notice that there's not much curvature here and here, so maybe we need to add another edge loop and just to help with the curvature of the character. And right now this might need a little bit more adjustment, justify the eyeball, so the eyeball does look a bit too extruded, and it seems from the image that it's going in a nice curvature. So the eyeball should not be that out, it should go around that curvature, so we might need to bring that back just a little bit, and maybe just go a little bit with the, which is fine. And let's bring that out and maybe bring that in. And let's make sure there is a nice curvature going around here. So let's hide the eyeball and just adjust the curvature. And maybe move that back a little bit. So now this is where the edge loop that has come into place, because we're seeing unwanted ins and out of vertices. So let's do that now. I think it's a good time to add that edge loop. So let's hide the eye, and let's add a nice material to this, because the green color is a bit too annoying. So let's switch that to black and add a material to it, and this should be good. And let's hide the turbo smooth. So we want to add an edge loop just like that, and to do that, for now I will be using the cut tool. So if you go into edges, I will use the cut tool just to make that shape. So and just like that, we have created a path, and this one maybe we can delete. Should I delete? I don't know. That's where you need to do like a lot of reconfiguring the path so that it's not causing much of an issue. So since we will be making a separate hair, then we reattach it to the body, so maybe we can remove that, and maybe we can add a cut here just to make that edge loop. So far we're seeing all across, and right here maybe we need to make another edge loop. So if we add an edge swept, we can connect those. Those number of edges will help with the legs, so it doesn't have to be a bad idea just to make those. So let's select that and deselect the eye area, and let's do edge constraint so we can move it to the side. And this one as well. Let's move it to the side. This is the nice thing about the constraint. It's moving along the segments and it's not making any changes to the geometry. So it's something to keep in mind with other projects. So like if you notice from the side, nothing is being changed. All we're doing is just shifting along the edges. And we can see that there's a lot of modification that needs to take place right around here due to the limited space. And right here we need to reconfigure this so that it flows correctly and nicely. So and maybe just do this. So we can test this by adding an edge loop to see how it flows. So like we can see there's an issue here. So let's add some space here. See, that's because of the edge constraint. So let's move that and change it to none. And right here, so we want an edge loop going around the eyeball, and we also want it to shift path and go around the eye area. And you can always test to see how it goes. So there's an issue here, so let's start cutting and make sure that we are welding. Just to create that edge loop. And let's use that edge to collapse it. And now we have an edge loop around the eyeball, and we need to do some configuration with this area. So far this is what's causing the issue. So maybe we can draw it out, see what happens once we do this. And if we add an edge loop, so this is still an issue, so nothing has fixed it. So the issue is here, we cannot weld this to that. So if we do like a target weld, even though we have an edge loop here, we are causing this path right here, this disaster. And maybe this is for the best, I don't know, we'll see. So I don't know, I just keep it like the way it is, but it does not look good. So for now this looks a big mess. So I'm going to select the entire area and just relax it just a little bit. So there's this relax button, and let's see how much we can relax it for. So like we can play with the values. Make sure the area is selected. Let's see before and after. No. Before and after. I think the after looks a bit better. So let's go there before. Yeah. So we want to keep this. So maybe we want to deselect those vertices. And maybe deselect those as well. And maybe now do another relax. Yes, no. So maybe it is better to do it manually. So let's move that out. Which is fine to do it manually. It's fine. It's not end of the world. So what I don't like is the area around here. It's too congested. So like it needs some modifications. Okay. And the reason we're seeing some artifacts here is because if we select all the polygons and scroll down to smoothing group, we can do like R smooth, and that will fix most of it. Now let's deselect and let's take a final look at it. So like you can tell that some areas need some fixing. So maybe this moving out just a little bit. So always make sure that the curvature is in mind, and let's make sure this is going up just a little bit. this should be on a separate edge, so let's reroute it. Select this edge and just remove that. I know that I have created another issue here, but that's fine. So for now, we have an edge loop almost around and an edge loop around the eyeball. And let's create that edge loop around the eye. So right now this should be good. This should help solve the issue. And we have around the eyeball. So this should be good for animation in a way. And let's see how it looks like with the Turbo Smooth. And let's press F4 to see how it looks like. So there does seem to be a lot more flat spaces, and if we compare it to the image, so the eye is a bit smaller, so that needs to be a bit taller. And let's see the eyeball. With the eyeball, so yeah, we need to add some height to the eyeball. So looking at this, it seems to be following it correctly in a way, but we do see like some height here, so it's okay to make some modifications to it. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit more height. So make sure that no other vertices are selected, and let's just move that just a little bit. Maybe just a tad, not a lot. And what we can also do, so to make it a little bit more curvy, because we're seeing a lot of flatness to it when it should not be this flat. But at the end, we will add an FFD modifier to make it a little bit more curvy. So let's turn off Turbo Smooth, and we can see like a lot of areas where it makes it flat. So maybe this area needs to be maybe a little bit more dominant, so we can maybe add more flatness, more curviness to it. Like right here we can see flatness right out, so maybe we can take these and move them up, and this some flatness. We just add maybe average this one out, and I'll add another edge loop here just in case. And maybe add some okay. So for now this is good. Let's control and save, and let's take a look at the mouth. So let's turn off turbo smooth, let's go into X-ray mode, and let's go to the front view. So the mouth, so we can see the shape. So maybe we can use the cut tool and we start making those cuts. So our goal is to make it an edge loop. So right now I'm going to select these faces and just delete them. So let's make sure this is goes a bit to the back, and this as well too. So for now I will be deleting those edges because I'll be creating that using a cylinder, then attach it. So maybe for now we don't need those, just delete that. And maybe we need to add some curvature to the mouth, but I think it's fine for now. So what we do is we take those edges, then we extrude, and then cap. Since we don't have cap, this is not a border, so I'll select these two edges and then we bridge, and then we use the border to select the rest and just cap it, and from there we can make those connections using the cut tool. And let's take take those vertices and move them to the back. And let's take those faces and just smooth them using a smoothing group. And same thing for here. So this one I'm going to delete because no one is going to see it. And I think if we do all and auto smooth, so and let's see how it looks like with the turbo smooth. So it's not so bad. Maybe you can see a little bit of a hard edge around the mouth, around the lips. So this is simple. Just all we can do is just add an edge loop close to the area, and it gives us that smoothness. And now if we want, we can go into faces, polygons, and we go into hide selected, and we want to do unhide all, so we can see how it looks like. So apparently we have missed those faces, so now we can delete those, and we can delete the bottom as well. And also we can add another FFD modifier, so we can select those, area and add an FFD, maybe 3 by 3. I just move that to the top just a little bit, and right here, so we can make that, so we can force that curvature, so we are forcing it. Maybe add a little bit more curvature here. Okay, this is nice. And let's go to the FFD and do merge collapse to, so it collapse anything from the FFD and below. And maybe this is a bit too wide, so let's select the editable poly and maybe make it a little bit narrower. And right here we can see some flatness around here, so we can add an edge loop. So let's do that, and maybe we add another edge loop right around this area. And take this one right here, those edges, so that let's press F4 so we can see those edges. And we can move them in. Since this is the back area, and this is the back area, a lot of those edges are not needed, so we can delete those. All we need is one edge, and we can use the hair to our advantage to do a lot of merging, so that this front does not influence the back. So let's control save, and let's take a look at the feet. So right now I'm seeing unevenness here, so let's select those and using the scale tool and even it out. And right here you can see maybe some curvature is required. Same thing here, and same thing here, maybe some. Okay, so far this is good. And now let's make the leg. So the way to do here, so I've changed my mind. I don't want to create a cylinder and do all the attachments. So what I'm going to do here is, for now, let's create what do you call, a bridge. So let's bridge this. Let's move this vertex in just a little bit. And what we want to do is we want to select the border and inset it, and then use the rapid tools, geometry, and just make it into a circle. So we can fix this circle by rotating. And let's go to the front end and let's move that to the bottom. So let's just align that, and let's go into X view so we can see. So it just needs some movement. Let's fix that, make it straight, and this one also needs to be moved in. That's okay, like, you can make mistakes, no issues here. Let's go to the front view, and from the looks of it, this needs to go in. And don't forget the anatomy. So the legs always by the back to support it, so it has to go in a straight line. And right here we should maybe pull that in so that it looks like a straight leg. So maybe just and add an edge loop. So a lot of movement is required just to make sure that it is correct, and we need to see a balance so that we make sure that the character doesn't look like it is falling. So maybe in the middle somehow. And so let's select the edges and maybe just rotate it just a little bit just to make it look like it is straight. And let's use the edge constraint. Right here, so we can move some of those vertices. cut here and also make a cut here. So we do see some issues here. So for example, this triangle. So this does look like it should go in a circle. And this does looks like it needs to go out just a little bit. And this does not sit right with me, so and this edge, I'm not happy with this edge. So I think maybe I'll remove that and maybe just do a little bit more impact. So something is off here. See vertices. So yeah, like there should not be an edge loop here based on this flow. Maybe we add another edge here just to make it look, and maybe we'll also add another edge here. And now let's select the polygons and do a circleizer, so makes it look good, and do the same thing here. This did not work well, and that's because of this. So this is, let's see if this does anything. It's a little bit bad, but still it's not right. So, and this edge, this vertex, yeah, this is what's annoying about modeling, having to deal with this, with all of this. Okay, so let's see, let's move it in just a little bit. Just a little bit. And right here. So what I'm going to do is select a lot of these areas. No, so deselect everything, and I'm going to use the relax brush. So under paint deformation, just select and just start smoothing some of this out. Maybe make the brush a little bit smaller and just we just need to space it out nicely. So right now this is looking a lot better. So we can tail. This is gonna cause some issues, especially if we apply the turbo smooth. So for now, I think we need to do some rerouting with the edges. Maybe this goes right, and maybe move those a little bit to the back. And now we have created an empty space around here, so I'm going to delete those. And maybe move those vertices to the front. And let's make a cut right here. Okay. And let's make this a bit flushed. And I think this okay now. Okay. And now let's cap it. Let's select the border and cap. And now we have to do all the connection. So this is not looking good, so this maybe has to go to the and this is due to lack of edges in here. Maybe this goes into this one right here. And since no one is going to see the bottom of it, most likely, so it's not going to matter anyway. So right here we can add a chamfer to it just to make that smoothness. So let's do that. Let's give it a little bit. And we can see a gap here. So let's go into vertices and let's make sure the end result is showing. And let's start stitching. And maybe okay, it's good. And now it's time to think about the hair. So as I have said before, I will do the hair separately, so make sure you save your scene first, and then we will start modeling the hair. So looking at this, we can tell it is starting with the 3 cubes. And yeah, now we shall start. So to start with the hair, so let's start with a box. Let's go to the front view. So this will not, the symmetry will not apply to it because it's non-symmetric. And let's convert that to an editable poly. And we can see it's being, so there is a level of dynamics to the shape. So let's go into the X-ray mode. So we can see that this one goes a bit beyond. So maybe just like that. And this one goes up. Maybe we'll add some dynamic to it, make it a bit curvy. And from the looks of it, goes a bit to the back, and maybe so, like, I'm making a lot of assumptions here, so I'm going by the image here. And I'm assuming this grows smaller as it goes up. Maybe this goes a little bit to the back, make it smaller. And move it forward. And use the scale tools to make it. And here take this based on this goes way to the front. And this is the side view, and this is way to the back. So this might not be the best way to model it, so another way to do it is using a line. So for the next one, for the side one, so we'll try a spline tool. So let's go into the shapes and let's select a line, and let's go to the front view, and let's start modeling this. So we do want it to be curvy, so I think we want it to be a straight angle, so I think we just, yeah. So I guess you can make it curvy if you want to. So for now I just do that and give it a rectangle and enable in viewport. So let's give it a thickness. Let's give it a width. Make sure it matches the front end. And so this can be a lot faster to build, especially when you can move controllers around. So for example, you can move this like that, so we can make the width a bit smaller, and this goes up and to the side. And I think and since we have like the basic shape, maybe it's not the best, we can convert it to an editable poly, and then we can do a lot more modifications to it. So for example, we can turn on snap tool. Let's make sure it is set to a vertex, and let's make sure it's active, and go into snap tool and start snapping to it. So based on this, it seems that might be, so this one would end somewhere close to this one right here, and this one is right there, and that one maybe here somewhere. And this one somewhere around here, maybe here. So let's move it to the back. And I think from the looks of it, this seems to be, those two edges are collapsed, so let's collapse those. So this is collapsed, And now let's build the other half. So again with the line tool, so the line tool seems to be a lot faster, so let's go to the middle and let's start building it. And let's convert that to an editable poly. Let's make it smaller, a bit up. Select this one, also make it smaller, move it up too. And based on this, and this one is right around this area. And let's delete this one, or maybe not, maybe just do target weld. Oh no. So this one would be all the way over here. Or no, maybe this one. So this one would be here, and the third one would be at the back. That's my assumptions. Let's see if it looks good. Yeah, it looks okay. So let's select these two object and hide unselected, so we can, let's convert them to an editable poly, and let's remove the bottom faces. So we remove this one too. And this one. And let's do attach, so we can select these objects, make them all one, unify them, and now we can do, so we can weld now. So weld here, since they're snapped, you don't have to assume distances. And weld. Okay. And now we have to attach it to the body, so let's do unhide all. So before, maybe we need to do some adjustment. So let's go add a local, so we can, let's make sure this is a bit thin, maybe this one to the head. So let's go at the object level. So right now, because we have a symmetry, so maybe we should turn that off, remove the turbo smooth, and we should also add an edit poly on top of the symmetry, so we can attach that object and not affect the symmetry. So we click attach and we select this, and now they're becoming one. And now let's start creating edges so that we can attach that to the main body. So turn on snap, or maybe we don't have to turn on snap, we can just do target weld. Just like that. Maybe this one here. Backspace. And same thing here. 1, 2, and a third one. Now we can do target weld. Just want to see if there is something preventing it from cutting. We see these, and this need to be deleted. So we select this border. So right now the border seems to be open. So let's see if we can just bridge it. Bridge this to that. So this one here needs to be adjusted as well. So let's use the relax brush. Maybe just use that. And choose it, put it back. And then we relax it. So you can select this and do grow. And then you can relax it. And then move it to the back. And then relax it some more. We can add a loop here. And then we can grow again and then relax. Grow and then relax. So let's select all polygons and let's do auto smooth. And if we want to add a turbo smooth to see how it looks like, so these edges right here, It's what making a lot of these distortions. So if we want to make those edges a bit hard, that's easy. All we need to do is just add an edge loop, so just like that. So for example, this one too, we add these. We also could add, just to make it a bit hard edge. So if we activate Turbo Smooth, the hair may be in a better shape. And now let's do some target welds. So right here, there seems to be a lot of tension around this edge. Maybe let's remove that and maybe add some edge here. Yeah, this is not looking good. So maybe just remove the middle edge. No. Nope. Let's So there will be like a lot more work just to make things nice with the hard edge. So maybe you can do like this one like here, and just add this to the edge and just delete those edges. Just need to do some rerouting. And same thing around here. So there are far too many edges here, so maybe we can do I don't know. So for now we need to make it just a low poly. So like I do not care like about the hard edges, so like I can have those removed. Making things hard edge is not easy, especially if you're not doing sculpting. So this is good for now, and maybe let's make this one a bit wider. And maybe make this one goes a bit to the inside. Just to give it some more definition. And this one, I'm going to remove any unnecessary edge. Let's do a cut here. And remove these two edges. And maybe just add a cut from the middle to the end. And as we can see here, we can see the eyebrow going up, so maybe we can make this go up and this one go out. So the mouth seems on the inside going in. So let's do that. So Let's make sure it goes inside and goes back in. And let's do shrink, and then so this is good. And let's remove this edge to the front, and maybe we add a little bit of extrude to the mouth. Let's select the edge loop and let's do chamfer. Or maybe not. So I'm going to change the material of the eye because I don't like the green. It doesn't look good. And maybe for the mouth right here around the edges, just move them up a little bit. I know, I think we have the last sense of symmetry right around here, and that was due to the hair, but right now I'm not going to care about it. So this is good. Let's change these colors to black. And I'm thinking with this one, from the looks of it, I think they are different cylinders, so like it's a separate one. So we can do something similar to this. Let's reduce the number of geometry, maybe to 10. And maybe let's add an FFD modifier, maybe 4x4x4. And let's go to the front view and start modifying. Maybe just add it a little bit. And let's do collapse all. And let's go into convert it to polygons, and let's select this face. Let's extrude it just a little bit, and let's undo it again and make it smaller. Just this is good. Put that in, and let's apply the same textures as the rest and change this color to black. So we want to mirror it to the other side, so we apply the symmetry modifier, and because of the orientation of it, we should also apply the reset XForm, so we can reset the plane. And once we go into the object, let's delete this one, and let's do reset X modifier and reset selected, and let's do collapse all, and now the plane should be resetted, the mirror plane. So if we add a symmetry, we can see the plane has been resetted. So we wanted to center it to the object, so the way to do that is we can use symmetry, and let's right click, and we can do to a pivot, and maybe let's add another FFD just to make the arm a bit longer. So let's make it longer. Let's rotate it just a little bit. And that's good. Let's do collapse all. let's make the teeth, so the teeth you can see it. I'm going to make one and just duplicate it and put it around. So right now let me switch to polygons here, and let's select all and do auto smooth, just to make it somewhat look good. And just around the eye, so I just want to make these things a bit small, so I want to make it the size and its own symmetry. And let's make the teeth. So I'll take a cylinder, maybe a box. Let me go with the box. So with the box you can see like various shapes. So to do that, let me apply an FFD modifier, so it's 2x2, so we start making different shapes. Move this aside, this one the left, and let's create multiple copy of it, so maybe 2 copies. So for the first one, so let's collapse all and let's convert it to an editable poly, and in this one I'll be using a slice plane. So if I go into polygons, I see a slice plane. So right now I'm going to make different slices. So slice here, maybe let's see it works with edges. Slice, maybe make this a bit angular. Slice, and maybe take it slice, and let's see, let's remove some of these planes. Yeah, this is not working, so let me delete that. So for now I'm going to stick with this. So just do that. Let's change it around. And one way to do things is adding a boolean. So what we do is, maybe we can add another, so we take this, so let's make another copy of this, and let's go in here and we can do subtract, don't know how to use this. So now I think we take this object and we start maybe do something like this. So we have this unique shape. So this could serve as a tooth, so let's do collapse all. And maybe we create a few of those. And let's add an FFD just to do quick modifications on them. So maybe something like this. Maybe add that. Maybe something bigger. And so on. Okay, so go to materials and assign the same materials. And we add some to the top. And that's it. Let's select everything, make sure the color is black. So we can have a black wireframe, and let's hide the background image. And so I will make the file available if you want to download and take a look at it aside from this. So maybe we can add high qualities, and that's it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.